Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. I am Muhammad Shafiq bin Sulaiman, your company regional manager. And today, for information, today I've just come back from my 2 weeks break. I was actually performing Umrah. I was in Saudi Arabia in Mecca and Medina, and I have just landed this morning. And it came to my attention that we have several issues to be addressed in this company. We have internal and external issues. Some of the internal issues, I believe, is regarding our staff, working hours, and an issue about childcare, I believe. And we have external issues also, such as the drop of our profit rate and production. I believe it is because of the foreign exchange rate that has been changing lately. And another sad issue for everyone, for those who don't know, one of our staff, their mother just passed away this morning, the mother of Mr. Arif. And I've just after I landed, I've just came to visit Mr. Arif and his family. So my deepest condolences to Mr. Arif and his family. All right, let's get straight into our meeting. For your information, this is a weekend meeting. We have to do this meeting on weekend because I just come back from my holiday, and I believe this is an urgent matter. And as it is on weekend, I have allocated this meeting to be around 20 to 30 minutes. That's not to take up much of your family time, leave. So without further ado, I will be introducing the members of our meeting today. We have two members to represent our finance team. We have Mr. Yuvanesh and Miss Hinisha to represent finance team. Then we have two more to represent parent team, Miss Lino Baradi and Mr. Samuel Pravin. So since I just come back from overseas, I'm not really sure about what this meeting is going to be. However, my assistant manager, Mr. Karim, have sent me a proposal, and I had the chance to briefly look at the proposal. And apparently, it is about a suggestion from the parent society asking our company about something regarding their care and taking care of their children. So, as I'm not fully aware about this, would you, anyone from the parent department, if possible, Mr. Sam, would you like to explain furthermore in about this proposal? And aside from that, I would like to let everybody know that my role in this meeting is just as a middleman. I'm the manager for the company and the manager also for this talk, and my role is to remain neutral. So please kindly respect each other and kindly do not ask me for opinion, as I need to remain neutral. And please be respectful. And the floor is yours, Mr. Sam. You may start by explaining about your proposal.
Thank you, Mr. Shafiq. All right. But before that, I would like to say welcome back. All right, I'll get started. First and foremost, I would like to state that we have given the proposal to establish a daycare center earlier to the management. This is because around 150 of the laborers that work in this company are parents with children, and they tend to have difficulties in taking care of them due to the fact that they have to leave their children at home while working here. So this is our main issue, which has led to this meeting, Mr. Shafiq.
I see. Thank you, Mr. Samuel. It seems that there's a concern among laborers that with who are parents with younger children, I believe, and they tend to have difficulties to the fact due to the fact that they have to leave the company premise to drop and pick their children off from school. And now that we have heard from Mr. Samuel from a parent's point of view, let's hear from the finance department. What do you think about this, Mr. Yuvanesh?
All right. First of all, Mr. Shafiq, welcome back. Second of all, thank you, Mr. Samuel, for addressing the issue. You may be right, but unfortunately, that is not the way that I see it. As our manager has mentioned earlier, our company does not have much profit and doesn't have the budget to allocate for the daycare center as you have requested. Apart from that, this initiative would only benefit some of our staff and not for all. For instance, our foreign workers did not bring their children here as they are back in their homeland. So this initiative would be unfair to them. And since we have quite a number of foreigners working here, so I just think that it's a big unfairment for them. And then the same goes for our employees who don't have younger children and those who already have a homemaker at home, or those who are not even married or who don't even have children at all. So I just feel that the percentage numbers, if you're going to compare it, it's just the majority goes to them and the minority goes to you, since you guys are just 150 out of quite a number of people who are working in this company. However, we are still open to other suggestions.
Excuse me, if you don't mind me, I would like to continue from this point. Apart from the financial wise, we also have problem accommodating a daycare center. This is because we have insufficient space available since our company is not that large and we only accumulated the perfect size to build our company. So furthermore, the space inside the company is also packed with offices, waiting rooms, pantries, printing rooms, and so on. So all the space inside our building has been used up, and which this will also result in a big loss. So I think it's a no-go to open a daycare center in our company.
Pardon me for interrupting, but could you say that again, Mrs. Sinisha? My internet connection was not quite stable just now.
Miss Sinisha, could you unmute your mic, or do you need me to say it for you?
No, it's okay. All right. I think okay. So what I actually meant was our company is not big enough inside out to open a daycare center. So if we were to accumulate a budget to renovate another space inside the building or rent a lot to open a daycare, I think you would realize that our company's financial situation would result in a loss. So I hope you understand that point.
Mr. Sam, did you get the point from Miss Sinisha?
Yes, Mr. Shafiq. Thank you, Mrs. Sinisha. Although I do understand that our company does not have enough space to open up a daycare center, couldn't we just empty one of the rooms that is rarely used? Wouldn't it be easier for both parties? This is just my personal suggestion.
All right, let me keep things straight. So initially, Miss Sinisha was saying that we are running a computer company and most of our space is occupied. And she says that this daycare center plan is outside of our expertise and we don't have enough space in our company. Other than that, we don't have enough fund if it is for us to lot and run our own daycare center. And Mr. Samuel, in other words, you were saying that we should allocate one room that has not been used much, just to remove the things to other room, maybe to cram everything in, just to make it available for a daycare center. Am I right, Mr. Sam?
Yes, Mr. Shafiq, you're certainly right. Do you agree with my suggestion?
Well, I'm really sorry to interfere, but Mr. Sam, I'm just afraid that it's not within the scope of the discussion. As I have stated earlier, we have completely zero available space to make your suggestion work. I really hope you do understand this point. I don't wish to sound impolite, Mr. Sam, but I have to say that your suggestion may not bring any benefit for the solution that we're seeking here now. But the finance department would like to opt for other options if you have any. Just apart from that, if you have any other options, just go ahead with it. Anyone?
Yes, Mr. Yonish, if I may, I do have some suggestions. Since setting up a daycare center in the company is not an option considering the financial situation of the company, Mr. Sam and I have discussed with other parents and we have decided to propose certain alternatives that might help. So the first alternative is offering subsidies or reimbursement for daycare expenses. The second alternative could be creating a flexible schedule for parents to work from home. Finally, the third possibility is offering a list of panel daycare centers. These are the suggestions that we have come up with after discussing with the other parents. Are any of these suggestions acceptable?
All right. First off, I would like to say something to Mr. Yuanish. Mr. Yuanish, earlier, Mr. Samuel was talking about his suggestion on allocating one room that has not been used for the daycare. And Mr. Yuanish, your reply was that I'm sorry to interfere, and you were saying that you are afraid that this isn't in the scope of our discussion. So for your information, I have stressed before that our discussion is indeed about the daycare. So it is within our topic of discussion for the first one. And remember that you are representing finance team, and Mr. Samuel and Lino Baradi, you are representing parents. So remember to keep your point straight, because it will make sure that later it wouldn't backlash to you. And once again, from now we are going to the important part, and I would like to advise everyone to have your pen and pencil out, keep your notes so that we don't get the facts wrong. So let me continue. Mr. Lino Baradi, you were saying that they are open to receiving some of the alternatives stated above. So which of the alternatives suggested would the finance department be interested in, Mr. Yuvanis?
All right. My apologies for earlier, Mr. Shafiq. Ms. Lino, that is some very good options. Out of the three alternatives, I think we are interested in learning more about the third option. Ms. Sinisha, do you agree with my opinion? Do you think the third option is good?
Yes, I believe the third option is good.
All right, appreciate it, Ms. Sinisha. So the third option, which is offering a list of panel daycare centers. So would any of the parents representatives would like to care to elaborate about it?
Yes, I would like to elaborate about it, Mr. Yuvanish. First and foremost, thank you for accepting the suggestion. Now, let me give an example of what the third option really means. As you can see, the third alternative means that the company will nominate some daycare center as their panel. Then the company will bear all the daycare expenses. So staff will need to show their identification card and drop their children for free. But if possible, we suggest that we have 3 panel daycare centers with transport packages, homework guidance, and daycare for the children until 9 p.m.
That's a lot of requirements, but okay. So I wish to share my point of view. From finance department wise, we can only consider one panel because our budget cannot afford more than one panel. Yeah. So in addition, we can consider paying for the transport packages under that one particular panel, as it prevents staff from leaving the company premises to pick up and drop off their children at home. So for the homework guidance part, we will have to discuss it with our team before coming to a decision, as it is optional. And apart from that, for the time period requested for children to stay at the daycare, we plan that it should not be until 9 p.m. Instead, it should be until 6:30 p.m. This is due to the fact that most of the shift ends at 5 p.m. So the parents will still have ample of time to pick up their children at the daycare, so which is also nearby to our company. So to those who really want to extend the daycare period until 9 p.m., you can pay the additional fee to the daycare directly. So do you agree with the point that I have raised, Mrs. Lino and Mrs. Samuel?
I'm sorry for interfering, but unfortunately, that is not the way I see it, and I partially agree with your point. You see, as full-time working parents, our children are in desperate need of homework guidance. On top of that, most of us are struggling to guide them with the latest school syllabus that is quite hard to cope with. So please do consider this option, as it enables us to rest and recharge for longer. And if I'm not mistaken, this would help in boosting our work productivity.
Sounds kind of tough. All right, you know what? All right then. We acknowledge your consideration, Ms. Lino. All right. So let's do it this way. Ms. Nisha and I will have another discussion with our finance department, after this meeting regarding this suggestion. I do understand the urgency that the parents have, but you guys need to understand this also. But to finalize this issue, it might take a while. It's going to take quite a while. Because there's so many formalities that we have to do. It's not just something that you just process it out. It's just a long thing to do, and we really hope that you acknowledge this point, Selino.
All right, thank you, Mr. Yunish.
All right, to this part, let me see if I got everything right. So far, we have discussed the alternative, and we have come to an agreement with the third option, I believe, the possibility of having a daycare center at the as our panel daycare center, which our staff will just need to show their ID and drop their children there. Then the extra charges will be paid directly to the daycare center just in case for the staff who need extra hours for the daycare. And there are some requirement and benefit to be further discussed, both from the finance department and the parents society. Is there anything else that you would like to add on from the parents department, from the parents society?
Yes, Mr. Shafiq. But rather than adding on, I would like to ask a question to the financial department. Well, may I know when will all of these requirements for this option be implemented? As we parents are aware of our company's financial situation, but I hope things can move forward faster. When it comes to family, it is always our first priority. We hope that the company will be agile in implementing the policies that we have already discussed. Uh, any one of the finance department would care to answer the questions?
All right, Mr. Sam, I guess I have to repeat what I've said earlier, although that's a pretty good explanation, right? So like I've said before, we would have a meeting with our finance department first, okay, which is going to take a process and stuff. And then later we will set the dates, and then we got to share the information needed very soon. But in the meantime, okay, for your convenience, in the meantime, we will draft and map out the requirements and have our HR department give us the run through on the total number of employees with children that need the daycare service, along with the transportation and homework guidance.
I'll take over from here. So after acquiring the data needed, we will have a meeting with our manager to showcase the company's profitability and surplus amount, and whether our company is financially sustainable or not. So only then we will look for the panel daycare option at our nearby premises so that we can have a final round of confirmation regarding this alternative. So for this whole process to be implemented, it will take around a month. So do please bear with us until we have fully confirmed this alternative. We do understand that about your concerns, and we also need some time to project this option.
Right. If I may, I would like to add another one of our concerns from the parent side. And as all of us are aware, 5 of our staffs are on maternity leave, and 2 more will be on maternity leave soon. So this is going to cause a shortage of labor in the manufacturing department, and it will definitely affect our company's productivity. It will affect our company's situation. So thus an extra workload is to be carried out by those on duty, and which I presume might have a major impact on them both physically and also mentally. So does the finance department have any idea for a salary hike or employing more staff, or at least taking in part-timers? It might make up for the heavy workload that we are facing now, and a solution at this time could be useful for us.
Ms. Lino, sorry, I have to stop you there, but I'm really, really sorry. I'm afraid that this matter is not within our discussion topic today. Although I have to thank you for your concern for bringing this up. I don't really think most of most of us noticed that, but thank you very much for bringing this up. I will surely bring this issue forward in our next finance meeting. And aside from that, the matter of hiring new employees and maternity leave is out of our job scope. You might want to refer to the human resource department regarding this issue. But don't worry, we'll definitely try to issue this out, but it's also out to the higher board to make the final decision. Though for an alternative change, in the meantime, we will try to find a solution for the time being. Maybe just something small, and then we'll wait for the large solution.
All right. Okay. I'm sorry about that. I get what you mean now. Thank you for the clarification, Mr. Yonish.
Not a problem at all, Miss Lino.
Right. Thank you for the both representative from parents group, parent society, and the finance team. We have had a fruitful discussion. On top of that, let me summarize what have been discussed. So far, the discussion has come to agree with the proposition of accommodating one panel daycare center with transport packages, and extra charges will be charged for homework guidance, and extra hours should be paid by parents directly to the daycare, since we are only able to pay for the daycare until 5:30. Our job ends, our shift ends at 5, and the daycare is still 5:30. So, for example, if we need extra 2 hours, parents just need to pay for the 2 hours, I believe. As
Mr.
for the labor
Director,
issue,
sorry. So if the parents are going to pay, they're like going to pay directly to the institute. I mean, to the daycare center, right? Not to us, right?
I'm afraid I am the middleman in this discussion. So if you are not ready with your decision, I will give all of you some time. After this discussion, you will get back to your finance department, and maybe you will need to discuss with the daycare center as well before coming to a decision. And as for the labor issue, we will have a discussion with the management board and the human resources department and figure out a solution for that. Don't worry, Ms. Lino Baradi and Mr. Sam. This company is committed to supporting its employees and finding a solution that works for everyone. It's not just for the parent society and finance department. Just remember, finance department are also staff like us. They are just working for the company as well. Me as a manager, I'm also working for the company. It's not my own company, so we cannot make our own decision. We have to follow the process to make sure it is a win-win situation for all. But as a manager, what I can promise for all of you is that I will fight for the best. I will talk to the director and everyone, and I will fight not only for the company to gain profit, but also for the welfare of our staff. Because I believe aside from our profit and our monetary assets, our staff and their children are also future asset for our companies. Do you have any other issues to bring up?
No.
If there's no any issue to bring up, I would like to end the meeting now. Thank you everyone for taking part, and I will give 2 week period time for the finance department and also for the parent society to go back and discuss with your society once again, and finance department with your finance department. And also for parents society, you have stated that 150 staff needed this daycare. We will need the number in more detail. For example, how many staff have children and how many of them need daycare and everything. Maybe human resources, they will be ready to help you with this. I will inform to the human resources development, and the finance team, you will be looking around for quotation from a couple of daycare companies. And after 2 weeks, you will get back to me. I will discuss with the director and we will go about with another meeting. All right, that's all for now. Thank you for participating. Enjoy the rest of your weekend with your family. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank you, Mr.
Manager.
Shafiq.
Thank you, Mr. Manager. Thank you, Finance Department.
Thank you, guys.